The time is 6 o'clock on Oluyole 98.5 FM, Ibadan.
The news.
Good evening. This is Tabitha Komolafe. Reading with me is
Idowu Shekoni. Good evening.
Bringing you Newscope, our daily news program of in-depth reports, interviews and commentaries. First, the highlight. Senate demands full implementation of defense budget.
Arewa Consultative Forum ACF expresses concern over worsening insecurity.
Oluyole hands over suspected land grabber to DSS.
On the foreign scene, 9 killed in Canada school shooting.
Now the details. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Defense, Senator Ahmed Lawan, has called for the full and timely implementation of Nigeria's defense budget. He warned that delays could undermine the country's security efforts. Senator Lawan stated this during a budget defense session where the Minister of Defense presented the ministry's 2025 performance and 2026 budget proposal today. The chairman assured that the Senate is committed to ensuring that the armed forces receive the necessary resources to carry out their duties effectively. He emphasized that defense spending cannot be postponed, noting that any delay in funding could give an advantage to criminal elements and insurgents.
Meanwhile, troops of the 12th Brigade Nigerian Army have recorded a major operational success under Operation Igbo Idanu 1, clearing a key terrorist camp in Kogi State and recovering arms and ammunition. In a statement posted on its official social media account today, the Army said the operation dealt a decisive strategic blow to a notorious terrorist network linked to Kachala Ibrahim and Shaibu as troops dismounted and advanced on foot to achieve tactical surprise and operational dominance. The statement added that the operation was personally led by the commander, 12th Brigade, Brigadier General Kasim Sidi, and that although the terrorists fled on sighting the advancing troops, a thorough exploitation of the objective led to the recovery of significant quantities of arms and ammunition. According to the Army, the recoveries have significantly degraded the terrorist operational capability and logistics base within the area. Troops have since continued aggressive patrols and offensive operations in the general area to exploit the success, disrupt fleeing elements, and prevent any attempt at regrouping.
The Arewa Consultative Forum ACF has expressed deep concern over worsening insecurity, poverty and humanitarian challenges in northern Nigeria. They further warned that terrorism, banditry and kidnapping are increasingly displacing communities and disrupting livelihoods across the region. Chairman of the ACF, Maman Osuman, raised the alarm today in his welcome address at the forum's 79th National Executive Council NEC meeting held at the ACF Secretariat in Kaduna. Osuman said the region has continued to grapple with serious challenges since the last NEC meeting in August 2025. He cited natural disasters, loss of lives and harsh living conditions as factors compounding the suffering of the residents. The ACF chairman noted that the scale of insecurity has become so severe that external military assistance has been required, underscoring the urgency for coordinated and sustained action.
Nigeria recorded a total capital importation of approximately $21 billion in the first 10 months of 2025. This represents a 75% increase from the $12 billion recorded in 2024. This was disclosed today by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Jumoke Oluyole, during the budget defense of the ministry before the House Committee on Commerce. Speaking further, Mrs. Oluyole said the ministry ministry conducted more than 100 bilateral investment engagements, both domestically and internationally. She added that the move strengthened ties with new partners such as the UAE, Brazil, and Japan, as well as long-standing strategic partners including the United States and the United Kingdom. The minister noted that capital importation into Nigeria includes foreign direct investments, portfolio investment, and other forms of investment, with the United Kingdom emerging as the leading source of these investments.
Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, has defended President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms. He insisted that the administration's policies are already strengthening public finances and also improving funding for state as well as local governments across the country. Speaking with newsmen today, Bagudu dismissed claims that the reforms had failed, arguing that the measures were unavoidable if Nigeria was to halt years of economic decline and weak fiscal management. According to the minister, the government inherited deep structural problems which made tough decisions inevitable. While acknowledging that living conditions remain difficult for many Nigerians, the minister said international and domestic assessments support the government's macroeconomic direction.
Still on the economy, an economist, Dr. Adekunle Onile, has proposed a stiffer penalty for corrupt political leaders and individuals if Nigeria will improve in the Global Corruption Index. The proposal comes amidst 142nd ranking of Nigeria out of 182 countries in the 2025 Corruption Perception Index released recently by Transparency International. In this report, Abimbola Asawande takes a look at the Corruption Index of Nigeria.
Nigeria's performance on the Global Corruption Index has remained relatively low in recent years, reflecting persistent concerns about transparency, accountability, and governance in public institutions. The Corruption Perceptions Index (CPI) measures perceived levels of public sector corruption based on expert assessments and surveys, with lower scores indicating higher levels of perceived corruption. Reacting to the latest ranking, an economist, Dr. Adekunle Onile, described the situation as worrisome, noting that corruption continues to undermine economic growth, weaken investors' confidence, and erode public trust in government institutions. He maintained that if Nigeria is to make meaningful progress and improve its position in the global index, decisive and deterrent measures must be adopted.
The current ranking of Nigeria in the Global Corruption Index by Transparency International is nothing to write home about, because from all indications, two-step drop is still not something remarkable. It's like we are still in the same arena. Things have not really improved the way it's supposed to be. So one is not encouraged to say that corruption is reducing in Nigeria. What this indicates is that we are still where we are, and we have a lot more to do, or a long way to go, to ensure that our society is corruption free, or that we are more serious about fighting corruption.
Dr. Onile proposed capital punishment for corrupt public office holders and individuals found guilty of large-scale corruption, arguing that severe penalties will serve as a strong deterrent and demonstrate government's seriousness in tackling the menace. He stressed that beyond policies and pronouncements, strict enforcement of anti-corruption laws and judicial reforms are necessary to restore confidence in the system. The economist also called for strengthened institutions, transparency in public spending, and greater citizen participation in governance as part of broader reforms to combat corruption.
We are not lacking in laws. What we are lacking in is enforcement. People have found ways around the law to circumvent the law, curbing corruption. But in politics, people are so reckless, people are so unmindful, people are just too greedy and ambitious that they don't want to have any input, but they want to bring out so many output from the system. You will find senators who hardly sponsor bills for their constituency now demanding billions as contract sum or kickbacks for the same work in the same constituency. These are happening because there is no enforcement.
Although, while opinions may differ on the severity of sanctions, there is a growing consensus that urgent and practical steps are required to address corruption and reposition Nigeria positively in global rankings.
Apologies for the mix-up in that report. That report was presented by Adebayo Abdurafi.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oluyole State, Ibadan. The Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, has handed over a suspected land grabber to the Department of State Services, DSS, in Oyo State. This is part of efforts to curb illegal land acquisition and violence in the city. The development was disclosed in a statement issued today by the Monarch's media aide, Adeola Oloko. According to the statement, the suspect, whose identity was not revealed, was arrested over a protracted land dispute at a Lebu area of Ibadan involving the Akoto and Odufetimi families. The palace explained that the matter was brought before the Olubadan after repeated complaints of encroachment and unlawful claims on the disputed land. They added that the decision to hand over the suspect over to the DSS was aimed at deterring further acts of violence and illegal land grabbing. The Olubadan also reaffirmed his commitment to peace, justice, and lawful property ownership, warning that the palace would continue to work with security agencies to deal with troublemakers.
As Nigeria continues to grapple with food insecurity despite its vast arable land and active farming population, stakeholders are intensifying efforts to promote sustainable agricultural practices. In this regard, the Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria, NOAN, organized a 2-day training on organic seed production and participatory guarantee system, BGS. Our reporter Bumisola Adebayo reports that the training held at the Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology, Ibadan. I beg your pardon. Our reporter Bumisola Adebayo reports that the training was held at the Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology, Ibadan.
With millions of Nigerians still facing limited access to safe and nutritious food, concerns over chemically treated farm produce have continued to generate discussions within the agricultural sector. To address these challenges, the Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria organized a 2-day capacity building workshop aimed at equipping farmers with knowledge on organic seed production and certification processes under the Participatory Guarantee System, PGS. The training attracted over 100 participants from across the Southwest region, including farmers, extension officers, and agribusiness stakeholders. In his welcome address, the president of the association, Professor Jude Obi, emphasized that organic agriculture remains a strategic pathway to tackling food insecurity. He noted that strengthening farmers' capacity in organic seed production and ensuring compliance with organic standards would enhance productivity, improve food quality, and open up income-generating opportunities through certification aligned with global best practices.
Participants will engage, learning, covering varietal selection, seed multiplication, quality control, storage, traceability, organic standard, and participatory guarantee system as a credible, inclusive, and community-based certification approach.
Delivering the keynote address, the acting provost of the Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology, IART, represented by the Deputy Provost, Dr. Grace Aluge, described agriculture as a sector undergoing significant transformation, stressing that Seeds are not merely planting materials but carriers of innovation, resilience, nutrition and economic value. Also speaking, the Oyo State Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development, Barrister Oluyole, represented by Mrs. Adiola Adegunle, highlighted the growing demand for high-value and quality organic produce. She described the training as timely, noting that it would contribute meaningfully to improve food security and reducing economic pressures on farmers.
The training represents a broad and commendable step towards addressing priorities of agri-transformation agenda. In organic farming, productivity, resilience, and sustainability depend largely on the genetic purity, health, and adaptability of the seed used.
Other stakeholders at the event commended Nuan for the initiative, describing it as a step in the right direction towards promoting sustainable farming systems and strengthening Nigerians' organic agriculture value chain. Bimsola Adebayo, BCOS News.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has taken over the administration and operation of a newly built 275-capacity computer-based test center at Raji Okiesa Memorial Comprehensive High School in Iseyin, Oyo State. The facility, donated by Alhaji Ahmed Raji, a philanthropist and senior advocate of Nigeria, was formally commissioned alongside newly constructed blocks of classrooms, laboratories, and administrative offices. Our reporter Adiola Oladele, who covered the event at the school premises, reports.
Rajo Kesa Memorial Comprehensive High School in Iseyin was filled with jubilation and a sense of accomplishment as the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board management team, headed by the registrar, Professor Isiaq Oluyole, visited the institution for the formal commissioning and transfer of ownership of a cutting-edge 275-capacity computer-based test center, generously donated by the senior advocate of Nigeria and philanthropist Alhaji Ahmed Raji to the federal government.
The benefit of humanity.
Addressing the gathering, the JAMB registrar, Professor Isiaq Oluyole, described the center as a critical addition to the board's expanding national CBT network, noting that it will support its mandate to deliver seamless, credible, and globally competitive examinations. He added that locating the facility in Iseyin addresses the challenge of geographical access, significantly reducing the travel burden, costs, and logistical difficulties previously faced by candidates in Iseyin and surrounding communities.
We especially commend Mr. Ahmed Raji for his remarkable foresight. He has identified a critical national need and has chosen to deploy personal resources to meet it.
In his remarks, the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Oluyole, representing Governor Seyi Makinde, praised Alhaji Raji for his sustained contributions in the area, while urging the local government chairman to work closely with security agencies to protect the facility and guarantee its long-term sustainability.
The students of this institution consider those people that will come from far away with access and make sure you make good use of this facility.
The donor, Ahmed Raji, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, conveyed his gratitude to the Oyo State government for providing an enabling environment for the project. He stated that the Raji Kesa Foundation would be granting 3 scholarship awards to the best graduating students overall, the best graduating female students, and the students with the best behavior, covering their university education costs in any Nigerian institution.
One of the motivating factors what happened to the late students, most unfortunate. It touched my heart, and we felt that we should have something here. A whole lot to ease access to CBT-based exams, and they can do about 1,000 in a day.
The former chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Oluyole, hailed the initiative as a groundbreaking move that would have a profound impact on successive generations of students. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tujalausa, awarded Mr. Raji a letter of commendation celebrating the significant impact on education development. The well-attended event drew a distinguished gathering of traditional rulers from the Okeogun zone, education stakeholders, and other notable dignitaries. Also featured goodwill messages. Adeola Oladile, BCOS News.
On the foreign scene, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police say that at least 9 people have been killed in the shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in British Columbia and a second location nearby. Reports say at least 2 people and quite a number of others were affected. Foreign Desk Editor Folashade Akintola compiled details of the story and others, now presented by Bimbo Akombi.
A woman was identified as a suspect in the killing, according to police. She appeared to be deceased following a self-inflicted injury, they say. At least 2 people were airlifted to hospital with serious or life-threatening injuries, while 25 others were being treated locally. According to the RCMP, all remaining students and staff were safely evacuated. British Columbia's Premier, David Eby, has called the massive shooting an unimaginable tragedy, adding that the government would ensure every possible support for community members. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney suspended his planned trip to Europe following the attack, his office says. Carney said he was devastated by the horrific assault.
I'd like to take this opportunity to ask British Columbians, to ask all Canadians to wrap the people of Tumbler Ridge, wrap these families with love. Not just tonight, but tomorrow and into the future. This is something that will reverberate for years to come.
Police in Albania have fired water cannons and tear gas against protesters outside Prime Minister Edi Rama's office in the capital. According to media reports, clashes also occurred near Albania's parliament building. At least 16 people were injured and sent to hospital, and another 13 people were arrested at the scene. Media reports conflicts over whether the number of injured represents just police officers, protesters, or both. The protest is the latest in a series of anti-government demonstrations in Albania in recent months. Political discontent has been brewing since November, when prosecutors alleged that Deputy Prime Minister Belinda Baluko, who is also Albania's Minister for Energy and Infrastructure, had interfered in the procurement of government construction contracts. And finally, a crowd linked to Yemen's separatist Southern Transitional Council, STC, attempted to storm a local government building in the southeastern Yemeni city of Atak, leaving at least several dead, according to local authorities and sources. It's the latest eruption of violence consuming the conflict-ridden and impoverished nation. The security office in Shabwa Governorate said that armed fighters assaulted security and military personnel and fired live ammunition during Wednesday's attack, resulting in casualties as official forces intervened. The attack came days after the Saudi-backed Presidential Leadership Council, Yemen's internationally recognized government, announced a new cabinet with diverse political and regional affiliations as part of efforts to govern the divided Arab nation. Last month, the PLC established its hold over southern Yemen with the backing of Saudi Arabia after an STC attempt to take control over 2 southern provinces failed, leading to the latter's collapse and dissolution and withdrawal of United Arab Emirates forces, which backed the group, according to Saudi and Yemeni leaders from southern Yemen. The Security Committee in Shabwa said it will take action against anyone proven to be involved in inciting or planning action or using weapons, urging citizens to resist any calls to get involved. Bimbo Akombi, BCUS News.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Defense, Senator Ahmed Lawan, has called for the full and timely implementation of Nigeria's defense budget. He warned that delays could undermine the country's security efforts.
The Iowa Consultative Forum, ACF, has expressed deep concern over worsening insecurity, poverty, and humanitarian challenges in northern Nigeria. It further warned that terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping are increasingly displacing communities and disrupting livelihoods across the region.
The Oluyole of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, has handed over a suspected land grabber to the Department of State Services, DSS, in Oyo State. This is part of efforts to curb illegal land acquisition and violence in the city.
On the foreign scene, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police say at least 9 people have been killed in the shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in British Columbia and a second location nearby.
And that's all from Newscope Desk for now. It was packaged by Buromoke Adewole and delivered by
Idowu Shekoni
and Tabitha Komolafe. Thanks for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version that comes up by 8 p.m. Good evening.